Hello, my name is Patrick Slook. I am work with LymeHealer.com. I'm a hypnotist. I'm also an NLP practitioner, and I never really started out life as a clinical hypnotherapist or a NLP practitioner. I was in a former life. I was a financial advisor, and I was a loan officer, and I owned mortgage companies, and I have a license in life, health, property, and casualty, and I had a real estate license and a mortgage broker's license and a lender's license and all these great things. And then one day I got bit by a tick and I got Lyme disease, and then eventually became chronic. And I gave about a year and a half, 2 years to the struggle to Lyme disease. And then one day watching a documentary, I found that I was able, watching, it was Gerson therapy. I think it was the Gerson miracle. And they juiced their fruits and vegetables to cure, disease. And I figured, well, that's kind of cool. And then, what the hell, I gave it a shot. And luckily for me, it did do what the same thing on the documentary does. It really did, in my particular case, get me into remission. And then I added herbs and got really, greedy with my health, and then added better nutrition, superfoods, herbs, and then I felt so good that I started to work out, and then I ran a couple little races, and then got into 5Ks, and then half marathons, and then started to do triathlons, and, my life really did a 180. But it was definitely a blessing, and I was very lucky. And that path in the Lyme community just led me to open actually an herbal company. So I started an herbal company called Herbastat, and we sell bulk herbs and bundles of herbs to help people with their pricing. And it's been very interesting because what I found with selling herbs is there are a group of people basically that split up into two immune systems. A type A immune system means that, they'll take herbs, they'll get well, the herbs will affect them, it changes them, and, health, they get health. They get happy, they get whole. They get what they paid for. And then there's another set, like a type B, I call them, who take herbs, they don't get well, they actually get more sick, they feel worse. This is dangerous for them. They can't take a lot of herbs anyhow. They're not able. They're allergic to a lot of things. It's just like they're more sick, basically. And the herbs seem to make them, more sick again, like sicker. So on the left side, there's this type A that was doing well and healing and moving forward with life. And on the right-hand side, there was this type B that weren't getting better, were collapsing farther, and I found in them a speech pattern, a thought pattern, a belief system. And actually I could tell through emails or over the phone just by conversation that these herbs weren't going to work. They're not going to work. They don't heal your type. And I don't know what their type was, but they don't seem to work. Historically, you're wasting your time. Don't buy herbs. Don't do anything. I don't know what to tell you. So after a while, kind of like finding the speech pattern and like, here they are. I realized, through conversations with, a few that I went deeper into the conversation with, they had shame. They were shamed in some way, shape, or form. So, as the conversation went on, it actually was that they were sexually abused. So I actually called up some of the people that, I knew who weren't doing well and have tried herbs in the past, not necessarily my herbs, any herbs. They just weren't doing well. And I asked them, and lo and behold, they all fit into the same category. They all had sexual abuse. They all had trauma. Now, traumas come in a lot of different forms. Trauma comes from sometimes a bad divorce or a bad father or an abusive father or abusive parents or parents or uncles or family members who sexually abused us. I mean, bad college experiences, bad birth. A lot of births go really bad, and people get, they get traumatized by that. And then when we get trauma, what happens is, if we get a really good hit of trauma, it seems that our the system that kind of controls that, and holds where our trauma lies, which is our amygdala, which is really kind of like our fight or flight response. What happens is our fight or fight response becomes pinched, and it stays, on the on position. And if that happens, the person runs hard, 24/7, 365. It's like, going 65 miles per hour in a car in third gear. It never gets out of third gear. The body runs hard. And the symptoms are like no sleep, totally anxious, anxiety-ridden, bad skin, hair doesn't grow right, hair falling out, and nothing, seems to work under the sun. And there's this dreaded, trapped, hopeless feeling. And that is, all kind of the systems of someone who's under fight or flight response. And what happens that's really interesting, what I've found with people, or really anybody who has a fight or flight response that's trapped and, on the on position, what happens is very interesting, and here's really why they don't heal, is because when someone with immune system A bites into an apple, they bite into the apple, their body absorbs it and digests it. It goes down into their stomach or their gut or whatever you want to call it, and they get the trace minerals and the enzymes and all the good things that the apple has. Their body gets it. When somebody has a type B immune system where their fight or flight response is pinched or on the on position, the amygdala is in a sense broken and their cell structure is toxic because of it. When they bite into the apple does basically not send it down to the immune system where 73-ish% of your immune system is. When they bite into the apple, their body breaks it down into energy or fuel to fight or flight. Their immune system is actually suppressed on purpose, because to hell with your common cold or your Lyme or your whatever you have, whatever your disease is, whatever your chronic illness is, to hell with that. We've got a real problem here. There's a jaguar in the living room. There's a fight or flight response going on right now, and we have to deal with that. So it suppresses the immune system on purpose to save you from the jaguar in the living room or the puma, the cougar, whatever the hell animal is. But the problem is there is no cougar in the living room. It's just daily stress. It's just that my mother is coming over for dinner tonight. It's just that my kids are failing school. It's just that my marriage is starting to go funny. It's just that there's mail in the mailbox. It's just that I can't get better. If I could only get better, things would get better. So this 24/7, 365. By the way, I haven't slept in, years, because every time I close my eyes, my fight or flight response is really triggered, because now it's protecting me from the boogeyman that doesn't exist and hasn't ever jumped out and, given me problems. But the minute I close my eyes, it seems to get worse. It seems to get worse at night. So that is a, immune system that's under a fight or flight response that's compromised. And what I was able to do was, with watching this, noticing that herbs aren't going to fix this. No herb detoxes shame, guilt, anxiety, fear, trauma. You name the thing that detoxes and removes shame, guilt, anxiety, trauma, fear from yourself. Nothing. So the only thing that would do that would be hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming. And what that does is it allows us to go into the subconscious mind where your amygdala is, where the fight or flight response is, where our autonomic nervous system is, which controls every system of your body, quite literally, where that is broken, and we're able to repair it and fix it, and go into the subconscious mind literally and say, to the subconscious, the amygdala, like, let it go. It's over. It happened a long time ago. You're killing, your body, protecting yourself like this. You've got to stop. There was a time where this was needed, but it's over. It's been over for years. So we release it. We let it go. We remove the traumas. We remove the shames. We remove the guilt, the anxieties, the fears. All that stuff is removed. And then what happens once we do that, when we bite an apple, the body gets the trace minerals, the enzymes, the vitamins. No longer is the autonomic nervous system suppressing the immune system on purpose. We shut it off. We repair the damage. We shut that system off so it no longer suppresses on purpose our immune system. And when that happens, the healing just returns. So I know this sounds kind of complicated, but it's really not. I do this all over the phone. I have my meetings over the phone. I do hypnotherapy over the phone. I do NLP over the phone. All my sessions are done over the phone. They usually last about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and usually about 5 sessions, and person's pretty much good. The healing comes, the reversal happens, the system is shut down. We kind of fix the problems, and it's good to have a follow-up. I found that people really do need to follow up because people are very good at doing what they do best, which is feeling like crap, And if you give somebody enough time, they'll eventually go back. But without question, there is a way to fix it. There is a way to, kind of recover and heal from chronic illness. And I've found that most chronic illnesses, no matter what you call them, no matter what you title them, whether you're wrong or right about what the chronic illness is, I can pretty much say, just by what I've seen with my eyes and heard with my ears, I would say that 70% to 90% of chronic illnesses have a pattern or a history of trauma in their background, the patients do. And, God bless them, they're in the doctor's office trying to get medication for their symptoms, but in reality their symptoms are coming from trauma. So, they're in the wrong church at the wrong pew, and of course it doesn't get better. So I hope this helps in some way and defines it. You can check me out at lymehealer.com.